So, hi Yash.
Hello.
Today we're talking to Yash Gupta of Heinz, country head of India for Heinz, and thank you for taking out the time to speak with us. And welcome to Colliers TV. Right. So, straight into it. A bachelor's in science from Carnegie, and an MBA from Harvard. Now doing real estate development in India. Bridge the gaps for us.
Interesting question. About 10 years ago or 12 years ago, when I came back to India, I used to work with McKinsey, which is a consulting company
Sure.
there, and regarded as one of the most professional companies in the world. So worked with them in New York, worked for them in India for some time, and had done about 5 years in the consulting stint, thinking of what to do. Kind of came across real estate, and everyone cautioned me, saying real estate is a place where the good guys don't go, right?
Yeah.
And it is not the industry for professionals. It's the industry which attracts very different kind of people. However, the thought for us, or at least for me, was that the marketplace for real estate in India was changing. So it's not the marketplace that we used to have 20, 30 years ago,
Sure.
where real estate was infamous for hoarding black money, etc. Today, this is now, we're talking about 2005, 2006, or 2004, 2005, in the resurgent India, the person who was buying an apartment or a residential space was someone who worked hard for his money, was a professional, either working for an IT company or some other service firm whatsoever. So very professional, very thoroughbred, very above board. On one side, on the corporate side, the companies that were leasing office spaces were again, either multinationals
Sure.
or domestic multinationals,
Yeah.
which were all again leading, whether it's IT companies or companies like this, which again were very professional in their approach. However, the development part of the business, a lot of the developers were not moving up the professional curve as rapidly as one would have expected, given where the market was going.
Sure.
So I thought that you go where other people don't go. Either you're a fool or you're smart, and time will tell whether I am, which of the two I am. But the thesis for filling this gap for you, the thesis was it is inevitable for this industry to become more professional. That is the supply side.
Absolutely.
That's from land all the way to development to leasing, and
Absolutely.
basically being able to create the right real estate solution
Correct.
for very professional customers.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were not doing that.
So you saw big opportunity, and you still think there's a huge opportunity ahead, where the industry is going to become more and more professional. Right?
Yeah, and I think you're right. I saw where I thought the industry was heading.
Yeah.
I don't think it moved as rapidly as I would have expected or wanted that it moved in the last 10 years. So I've been with Heinz now for 10 years. I've just finished 10 years with Heinz.
Nice.
So I opened the office in 2006, and there was tremendous promise at that point in time, saying,
Correct.
India's growing, things are going to get much better very quickly. Only to realize that didn't really happen. And we've gone through a few lag years with
Sure.
the past government where things just didn't move. And the thing for professional developers like us, which are very, very cumbersome, are land. Getting the right land, getting it entitled, getting the right approvals, and certain because land and zoned land in India has been in short supply. That creates an arbitrage.
Sure.
And that also creates an opportunity for abnormal profits, which attracts all kind of practices,
Yeah.
most of which we cannot partake in.
Okay.
So to your question of what do I think in the next decade, I think what's going to happen in the next decade is the supply of land is going to get disaggregated. It
Okay.
is not now only with few developers or few individuals but it is going to get more widespread.
Okay.
Each of the land will be easier to get a license on and will have much more FSI. That gives a quantum or step function change in the supply.
Absolutely.
Demand is growing at the same pace that it's growing. I don't think there's going to be a step function change in demand. So if you have a situation where there's going to be an oversupply of land, but the same kind of demand curve as has been happened, the only way you'll be able to really monetize your land and get the right value from that is if you have the right development capability.
Absolutely.
And we are the ones, we believe that we have spent the last 10 years really honing our capability on the development side. Because we could never really partake in the land and we never made money on the land,
Yeah.
we willy-nilly were forced to really say, okay, how can we be the best developer in the country?
Sure.
How can we really make the best product at the most competitive price and really service the customer in a manner that other people are not doing that? That has been a tremendous advantage for us today, because having learned those lessons, having proven to the market that we can do a good building at in a reasonable time frame, keep up our promises to our customers, we can do some magic on the land that local developers can't. And I'm hoping this next 10 years or the next decade, apart from all the regulatory changes, are going to be great for the customer, because professional companies will come in, as you are seeing from the Godrejes, from the Tatas, even now Bharti or TVS or other corporates that you're seeing come into this field, or Mahindras, are coming because they say there's a great customer.
Yeah.
There's a much better way to service that customer, and we want to do that. So that's what we are also kind of hanging our shingle onto. Yeah.
No, makes
Or hat
sense.
on.
Makes sense. Very logical. So actually, what you just said kind of brings me to two questions, and
Sure.
maybe one by one. So the first one related to the direction we were heading in. Land's going to get freed up, which also essentially means probably this price bubble that's been built up over the last few years, which has been driven by the high cost of land, should ease out, and things should kind of settle in. So you see the next 10 years as positive for the real estate industry?
Incredibly so. Very positive for the industry.
Yeah.
How positive will it be for individual companies in the industry today is uncertain. But thematically, to just reinforce the points you've said, I do think land will get, not land, FSI will get cheaper.
Sure.
So you might get more money for your land because it's got increased FSI.
Yeah.
But per unit of FSI, I think the cost will be low, which means a more competitively priced product, whether it's residential or office, and that would be that is something that we are looking forward to, which will spur demand. I do think in certain markets for certain product types, there is an affordability gap between what people can afford versus what the pricing is at. I think that will be bridged both by land prices coming down, and secondly, with inflation, people's earning capacity going up, and third, with both again the regulatory changes like RERA bills, etc., as well as the focus on development, will do a better job of either forcing or helping the developers really focus on the promises they have made to their customers and delivering against that.
So how does Hines do that? How do you do that?
Very simply said, it's a cliche, but we promise what we do, and we do what we promise.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's extremely important in any business to keep your promise to your customer and be customer focused from that point of view. And I guess testimony to all that you've said right now is this building, like you mentioned, where you're sitting and you're commanding premium rentals for real estate. I mean, it's the top property, one of the top properties in Gurgaon. So many people feel that real estate, or have felt real estate is easy money, easy business to be in. Do you think it's easy?
Well, not from our point of view. No, we've worked very hard for earning the money that we've earned. No, it's not easy money. It's as simple as that. It's a very capital intensive industry. You take very big bets. The bets take a long time to bring to bring to life, and you could just get caught in the wrong market cycle, and you could have a lot of challenges. It's not easy money if you're not playing the arbitrage game, but it is good money. It's consistent money. It's big money. Projects are large in size. They require a lot of capital. So even if you're making a 20% margin on your product, 20% margin multiplied by 1,000 crores or 2,000 crores gives you bigger bang for the buck for the same effort that you put in, versus if you made a 10 crore product, for example.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. So hard profession to be in. Been doing this for 10 years from opening the office. So and 12 now. And being where you are. What does a day in the life of Yash Gupta look like?
Oh, I wish I could say that. I feel like I am running a startup 10 years later and 12 years later, because we do projects. We go from project to project to project.
Yeah.
And every project has its own set of challenges, has its own set of excitement, has its own set of issues that you're dealing with for the first time. So every day is different. I do, yes, there may be a couple of hours in my day which are consistent, which is akin to running an operating company. You
Yeah.
know, you manage your cash, you look at your finances, you look at your HR stuff, admin stuff, etc. But the rest of the day is really completely open for whatever that comes your way, because every project will throw up something that you don't know about and you didn't envisage, and you're firefighting that, and that keeps my life very exciting. I love it. It's also a question of us being very small. We are growing. We've done a few buildings in India, but now we're going to do a lot more. And with every new asset class we get into, every new geography we get into, there's a very steep learning curve for us.
Sure.
And that again makes my day very unpredictable. So
Yeah.
so I would say I am constantly running a startup, and which means my day has less consistency than more, and from day to day, and I love it.
So the excitement is very obvious in what you've just said, which means you're loving what you're doing, and you can sense that. But what else drives you? I mean, what gets you out of bed?
I think back to the original ethos with which I joined the industry. Today, the success of this building, and we've won a lot of awards for this building. Our other buildings, which are the IT park type buildings, have won. I think we're on the 6th award now, with last one being IT Park of the Year by NDTV. Also won the MIPIM award as top 3 business complexes in Asia, etc. What gets me excited is the fact that we are being not only recognized as a very professional developer in the industry, but being successful at it.
So, just in the end, maybe then a message for the youth of our country, because you're probably the most youthful developer, or heading a development in India that's currently that successful, who may be looking at real estate as a profession, as a career choice. What would you say? What would be your message to them?
I'm trying to think as you ask the question. I would say I would have 2 comments. One comment is and I spent about 12 years in the US. I studied there, did a bunch of things, was fairly successful there professionally. But the reason I came back to India, apart from all the the desire for being in your country, next to your parents, all those personal reasons, but professionally, the reason I came to India is because India has a unique opportunity to be anything it can be. It wants to be, right? Versus the West, where the scope of innovation, especially in industries like ours, or really leapfrogging is what they say, is limited because a lot of it's already developed. But here we have nothing. So you can, anything you make is more than what there was yesterday.
Sure.
So please, I mean, don't get seduced by the promise of the West or other issues. Yes, there may be more consistency, but there really isn't the same passion or the opportunity for creating value the way we have the opportunity to do that in emerging markets, and especially our own home country like India. So that would be my first message. The second is, you can be anything you want to be. You really can. I mean, if you asked me in my 20s, will I do real estate? And I would say, why would I ever do real estate? What do I have to do with real estate? Or no one in my family ever did real estate. In fact, we never really owned much real estate. So there was no legacy or affinity, and a lot of our choices, especially as young people, are made because of legacy, because
Absolutely.
your father did something, or your family did something, or you knew someone who did somewhere, and therefore you followed that.
Sure.
It's a different paradigm today. The reason I did real estate is and as I told you at the beginning of this conversation, was because there was a very interesting need, and one felt that, hey, if there's a good need, and one is smart, I can do it. So you can be anything you want to be. I mean, as a youth, just remember, and the fun is, you can keep on reinventing yourself if you have to. I did 10 years as a consultant, was fairly successful at it, and then frankly I was bored. And I think the luxury that we have today as young people, and when there are people who are much younger than you and I, is unlike 30 or 40 years ago, where people had to work one consistent job, they had to do the same old thing because that was required for subsistence.
Yes.
And the whole middle class ideology was that you stay at something, don't rock the boat, be very safe, and just make sure you're able to be safe during your life. Empirical data supports that the world today is much more affluent than
Absolutely.
that. we are not solving our profession, or we are not making our professional choices based on subsistence.
Yes.
We should be making our professional choices based on opportunity,
Absolutely.
based on achievement, based on passion, based on the ability to reinvent ourselves every so many years. And my message to them would be, don't undermine that opportunity. We are extremely fortunate to be in a place where, as a part of your disposable income, your subsistence cost is the lowest it has ever been in the last 200 or 300 years, right? So taking care of your basic needs is much easier today than it was when India got independence.
Absolutely.
If that's the case, that now puts a burden on you to saying, what do I do to make my life meaningful?
Yeah.
And if that's what your focus is, think about it carefully, and don't put any blinders on how you can make your life meaningful.
Wow. I think there's no better way to end this conversation, because that has been extremely honest, inspirational, and motivating for whoever's going to watch this. So thank you very much, Yash, for your time, and
My
it's
pleasure.
been a pleasure speaking to you today.
Thank you for having me on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.